Last person on this particular panel before we take a short break is Brother Mizan. He's a poet, spoken word artist and activist who uses poetry to create awareness about social and political issues. Brother Mizan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
I
barakatuh.
just want to say a big thank you to the IHRC for inviting me to perform these two poems. Just want to start off by saying that everything I say is my opinion and is not representative of the organisation or anything like that, so these are my opinions solely. The first poem that I'm going to recite is called The Time for Talking is Over, and is actually a refutation of a horrible person called Dame Margaret Hodge. I don't know if anyone's heard of her. Basically, after the tragedy of October the 7th, she came on TV debating Owen Jones, and she basically said that a couple of weeks before the attack, she was in Israel, and she was in a kibbutz or a settlement or something, and then she was like saying like, oh, you know, if only these two communities, if only the communities in Israel and the people of Gaza would talk. And I'm thinking there needs to be more than just talking, because there's a blockade of the people in Gaza, and if you can't see that, then there's a problem here. And I think for me, it just kind of highlighted what the invisibility of the oppression that the Palestinians face. This poem is called The Time for Talking is Over, and it's a refutation of that comment made by Dame Margaret Hodge. So here goes. Bismillah. She said, live on TV, that if only these two communities can talk, as if somehow Israelis and Palestinians not talking is the cause of the problem. Tell me, how much power do words actually have? Because if talking was the solution, then there'd be no military occupation, there'd be no apartheid or settler colonialism, there'd be no blockade or refugees, because they'd be free, living safe and in control of their own fate. But let's just be honest here, it's your Zionism that blinds you from seeing the oppression that the Palestinians face on a regular basis in their own ancestral homeland, where their own indigeneity has been erased by a complex form of systemic racism, which has been fully imposed from the outside. For people like Dame Margaret Hodge, the problem isn't Israel's violent system of settler colonialism and apartheid. Now, the problem is a lack of communication. The problem is an unwillingness to understand why the Palestinians can't stay here. Because if there was such an understanding, it would be easier to impose Israel's cruel system of Palestinian erasure. This is pure anti-Palestinian racism, the utmost worst of it being felt by those imprisoned in Gaza. But it comes in subtle forms too, such as the willingness to rightfully learn about the Holocaust but not about the Nakba. Or if the word terrorist comes to mind when you think of a Palestinian fighter but not when it comes to an Israeli occupation soldier or an armed Israeli settler. Or if you think it's acceptable for TV personalities to use Islamophobic references, think Piers Morgan or Julia Hartley-Brewer. Nah, we have to fight this dehumanization. We have to fight this dehumanization. I have to fight this dehumanization, because I want the Palestinians, I want the Israelis, in fact, I want everyone to see peace, justice and hope shine like the sunrise. So someone told Dame Margaret Hodge, the time for talking is over. Ours will be the generation that dismantles all forms of settler colonialism and apartheid.
Yes.
Thank you, that's the first one. The second one,